Hey guys, I hope you're having a great evening. I just wanted to pop on and talk about something that has come up in a couple of coaching sessions over the past couple weeks and something that we've experienced in our own life. So, when I first learned about compromises, I was like not too excited about it. Actually, the whole connected parenting thing, I was not excited about when I first heard about it because I thought it felt too nurturing. And so anyway, as in a lot of things in my life, I got to a point where I was so desperate, I was willing to try anything. So if you have been there, if you have had one thought about a certain parenting strategy, and then you've gotten desperate and decided, all right, I'm in, I should try that, go ahead and give me a little wave or raise your hand because you are certainly not alone. So anyway, what happened is our life had turned into a battleground. We were just moving from one battle to another, and I was really desperate, and I remembered compromises. And so I was really hoping that compromises would get me out of some of these battles. The specific example that comes to mind is homework. We were having massive battles about homework. So if you've had the massive homework battle, give me a little shout out. You can just pop something into the comments or tell me which subject always breeds the battle. It was math for our particular child. And anyway, so I went back, I was reading through all of my connected parenting materials and I thought, compromise. We need a compromise. If I can let her compromise out of her homework, maybe this battle will go away. And so I remember one day just being so exasperated about this whole thing and remembering, oh, the compromise. We don't have to pick this battle. We just won't do homework. And so I was like, okay, that's it. We're done. We're not doing homework. We'll just write a note to your teacher that we just aren't in a spot where we can do homework. And it doesn't really matter whatever the ramifications of that are. I'm just here for you. I'm going to advocate that you don't have to do homework anymore. And I just thought I was like the perfect mom, right? Anyway, so then the unthinkable happened. Our child looked at me with the widest eyes and she was like, what? I get it. You just don't care about me. And I was like, what in the world? She was like, you don't care if I fail school. You don't care. You just said it doesn't matter what happens if I don't do my homework. And I'm going to fail. And I thought you cared about my education, but clearly you don't. And so then we had a whole new meltdown on our hands about how I didn't care about her education. And at that moment, I felt like stuck between a rock and a hard place. Have you ever felt like you just can't win? It doesn't matter what you say, what you do, you just can't win. And I have been on that roller coaster with my kids. I have felt like I'm trying to compromise, meet a need, do all the things, and it doesn't matter what I throw out. I just can't win. So what this situation really needed was a high structure, high nurture solution. And I talk a lot about that. So I just wanted to give a quick example of a couple ways that we could have gotten out of the situation differently. So the high structure is sticking to your guns about certain things. So in this situation, I could have stuck to my guns that homework needed to happen. Now, the high nurture part might be that homework didn't need to happen a particular way or even in a particular time. So instead of throwing my hands up in the air and saying, we're done with homework, I could have said, it sounds like we need a break. I also, instead of just throwing my hands up in the air in exasperation and getting on the emotional roller coaster and saying, we're not doing homework, I could have required that my child request not to do the assignment instead of me just giving in and doing what I thought she wanted. I actually wasn't giving her voice in the situation, even though I felt like I was. And my attempt at a connected parenting response that I thought was high nurture because it didn't have enough structure around it, made her feel even more unsafe. And sometimes I think when we're trying to satiate our kids so they don't have a meltdown, or we're trying to get them out of a meltdown, and we're kind of doing this little song and dance, and we're throwing out compromises and choices and trying to give voice and all of these things, they actually feel unsafe because they understand subconsciously that their meltdown and their big emotions are affecting us, and we're having a little bit of our own meltdown. And so we're kind of frantically throwing solutions at them, and it backfires because while we are extrinsically trying to help them, intrinsically, we are feeling as dysregulated and crazy as they are, and that's what they can feel. Because remember, for every 50 bits of extrinsic information, our children are taking in 11 billion bits of intrinsic information, all of our mirror neurons and our nonverbal cues and our body language. So, plus, for a situation like homework, throwing in the towel may make our kids feel like we don't think they're smart enough to do it. And what they really need instead is for us to be able to stay regulated while they are dysregulated. So hard, right? I like to use the analogy a lot of a roller coaster. Let your child get on the emotional roller coaster. You need to keep your 2 feet firmly planted on the platform so that they know that you're there. And it also doesn't mean that you get to run away from their thing. You can't run off the platform and go to another part of the amusement park and tell them to meet you there when they get off their roller coaster. You have to stay on the platform. So you're a little bit a part of their experience, but you're not joining them on the crazy train. And that gives them an anchor, something to anchor to and re-regulate off of. And it helps them feel safe so that we can get to a point where maybe we can come back to the homework or maybe come back to the chore. I hear a lot of questions about chores. We need to understand that sometimes what we are requesting, the structure that we are requesting of our kids, is going to send them on a little emotional ride. And that's okay. Now, if your child gets really unsafe physically or verbally, that's a different story and a different video. But if your child is kind of running off the mouth and you are in a space where you can kind of understand that it's this emotional roller coaster and let it roll off your back and be there to help him or her regulate. If they're just, agitated, even if they're doing things that are a little bit destructive, but not a ton destructive. So maybe they're ripping up paper, their homework paper, or stomping around the house or something like that. Us not letting their emotions drive us is going to help them know that you're a safe, in control person, and they need that from us. So, high structure, high nurture. Don't let their emotional behavior be the thing that lowers the bar. Let their words, respectful words, be the thing that lowers the bar. And nurture is having some flexibility of where that bar can be when they request it with respect. So, if you have more questions than answers after this video, you're not sure where to hold your bar, when to hold the line, and when to allow for a compromise, when compromising in your situation may actually be backfiring for your child, I would love to chat more about your specific situation. So I would love to grab a call with you. You can do that by heading to thecorkboardonline.com/appointments. Grab a quick call. I would, again, love to chat with you, give you some tips and pointers for your specific situation. Otherwise, I hope this video has been helpful. I would love to hear feedback, other questions in the comments, and I will be around this week to answer them. So I hope you guys, again, having a great night, and I'll see you next week.